Well, look at this. I have the hood. I've been looking to get it for quite some time, especially, because of its famous battle with the Bismarck. I'm a big war history guy, especially World War II naval battles, so I was really looking forward to getting the hood, especially since, there's been a lot of battles that I've been out in, and it seems like the opposing players that had the hood, it was really kind of resilient. So I finally was able to get it, and I thought I would go over the setup of the commander and the ship and take it out for a quick battle. So my commander is Andrew Cunningham. His base trait is to increase the shell grouping of your battleship's main guns, and I use him for an inspiration on all of my other battleship commanders. But now he's the main guy, so now I have to come up with inspirations of his, and that was kind of hard for me because I didn't see many good options, frankly. But I went with Ravel to quicken the reload time of your battleship's main guns. For the first inspiration, I've got them up to 14, so reload time gets decreased by 4.5%. Ultimately, I'll probably change that, but this is kind of what I have for now. And the second inspiration is Robert Jujard, and he increases your battleship's AP shell penetration, which is similar to Yamamoto for the cruisers. So I thought that was a good option. I've only got them ranked up to 8, but I'm probably going to rank them up a little bit higher eventually, so the hood can start getting some Citadel hits and do some extreme damage, as it were. So for the skills, the first skill is Flammable Cannoneer, increases the main battery range and shell grouping for your battleship, which is always welcome. And it does increase the chance of catching fire for any ship type, and so far I've probably run a dozen matches with the hood, and it hasn't really been a problem so far, so otherwise I would probably look to start changing around inspirations and configurations, but for now I'm going with Flammable Cannoneer. The second skill is Gyrating Drill Bits. It increases the main battery traverse speed and AP shell damage, but it decreases the maximum speed, which at this point I don't really care about. The third skill is Marksmanship, increases the main battery shell grouping for any ship type. The fourth skill is Reaching Out XXL, and I generally do that on ships that I think don't have enough range to start out with. I'm really looking to get more than 16 kilometer range. Eventually I may go with Properly Meticulous to start increasing the secondaries, but the main issue, as you'll see with the ship configuration with this, is the secondary range is kind of short anyway, and I'm not really sure that I would get that much out of this in a standard battle, because it's kind of rare when you're close enough to other ships in a standard battle. In AI, you can get close all the time, but not necessarily in standard. So for the fourth skill, I've selected Reaching Out. And for the legendary, I've got them ranked up to Legendary 2, and I've selected Will to Rebuild. It increases the HP generation rate when Repair Party is active. I feel that's always a welcome sight. Okay, so let's look at the ship upgrades. And when I first got the ship, I was kind of bummed out because the ship was acting really poorly. It wasn't the great ship I thought it was. And then I realized, I didn't configure the upgrades. So that would definitely make a big difference. So here's what I came up with. Standard Aiming Systems Mod 1 for the first upgrade. Propulsion Mod 2 seemed to give the ship more oomph. If I selected Steering Gears Mod 2, I feel that the ship wasn't really all that responsive. With Propulsion Mod 2, it seems like the ship is as responsive as I want, and it does turn fairly quickly, so that's why I don't mind not having steering gears in that event. The third upgrade is Target Acquisition System Mod 1. As far as the loadout goes, for the consumables, you want to make sure to select Enhanced Secondary Targeting rather than Sonar. Whenever you do get in range and you do need your secondaries, this is a big help. It comes with a Premium Permanent Camouflage Type 9. It does the normal sea detectability range and incoming fire dispersion of 4.5%. Let's look at the stats. Survivability, the hit points is 67,700. Artillery goes out to 18.2 kilometers, which is awesome. The HE shell damage is 5,300 with 34% chance of setting fire, which is good. The maximum AP shell damage is 12,500, which is good. Secondary armaments, you see their firing range is only 5.2 kilometers. And, you know, that's just what it is. The only ships in the game that I can recall that have good secondaries as far as long range is the Bismarck and the Massachusetts. AA defenses, this is kind of new. I don't really recall this in the past, so I don't really have much experience with that yet. So, you know, this is what they are. Really short firing range, and it's kind of hit and miss whether you're in a match with an aircraft carrier. So that's why, you know, on my normal ship configurations, when I would have a chance to configure AA guns within the ship loadouts, I generally wouldn't, because to this point I haven't found a need to do that. But you do see this configuration here for the AAs. Maneuverability, maximum speed is 29.7 knots. You might have seen I did have the booster, Epic booster, so that could account for that little bit higher speed. Rudder shift time is 14.1 seconds. Concealment is 14 kilometers. Detectability by air is 11.8 kilometers. And of course, guaranteed detectability is 2 kilometers. I do find it interesting that the detectability by air is shorter. So I would think that when you're in the air, you would be able to see the hood from farther away, but apparently not. Let's look at the armor. So you can see that the bow and the stern are 25 to 26 millimeter armor. Let's start removing it and take a look at what the Citadel looks like, because as we know from the legendary battle with the Bismarck, the hood was basically citadeled and its magazine blew up. And you can see that the Citadel here is below the waterline, so you are kind of good to go compared to a lot of other ships. Like the big one I can think of offhand is the Albemarle, which the Citadel sits way above the waterline. And this one, it's below the waterline. Frankly, in the dozen or so battles I've had, I found the ship is just as resilient as all of the others. And it really is a pretty good ship. So let's look at the overview. Its ship is fast, above average maximum movement speed, nimble aim, above average main battery traverse speed, gives an edge in close quarters combat. Compromising, high caliber AP shells may overpen the armor, but may still arm, depending on shell velocity. So it says here, Hood, a fast battle cruiser that had long remained the largest and one of the most powerful ships in the Royal Navy. The ship was built based on the experience gained during World War I. Unlike later period battleships, she had weak horizontal armor protection. In the beginning of World War II, the ship's outdated secondary armament was dismounted and replaced with enhanced AA guns, and it entered service in 1920. So yeah, so the ship is a battle cruiser, and it's interesting that Wargaming spec'd it out as a battleship, which I think is fine. That's great, but I do know historically the ship was created to be fast, and to be fast, it had to sacrifice a little bit of armor. Many people know in the Battle of the Bismarck, you know, sink the Bismarck, the hood was lost when its magazine exploded, and the ship was sunk rather quickly. And I think, all right, so that's it for the configuration of the hood and the commander. Let's see if we can take it out in a battle and see how it does. Okay, we're in standard, we're in north, it's a domination game. And so we're just going to start out and move over to A little bit and see what kind of damage we can inflict. I'm mostly looking to see if I can get a bunch of Citadel hits here. I'm not really, sounds bad, but I'm not really looking to win the game. I'm looking to see what kind of performance I can get with the hood. First shot, you can see that I basically whiffed on that. Didn't even come close to hitting the guy. So I'm going to take another shot, second salvo, against the Pensacola.
Target penetrated.
And you can see there it's a Citadel hit. So that's looking pretty good right there. So things are starting to look up. Got another hit, up to 15,000, 2.5 minutes in. Gonna move over here and take another shot at the Lion. The Pensacola had like a weird angle, and the Lion looks like it's should be an easy target, but got one hit for 3,000. Got another hit. I'm up to 20,000. And now I'm going to start chasing the Lion basically all over the map. And eventually I'm going to give up the chase and head over to B and C. Now you can see starting to get a little bit of an angle on me. And I'm just not really going to be able to hit any of these shots here at all. You can see that was very grossly off. So here's a little while later. This looks like it should be a good shot, and nothing. It looked like it didn't even register as a hit, but it looked like it hit from the graphic. And this one I'm basically just not really doing much to the Lion. So here, several minutes later, I've kind of got the Lion. I'm still chasing him around. This is getting to be sort of pointless. So shortly after this salvo, I'm just going to take off over here to B and C. See, I'm going in between this channel here.
The ship is on fire.
Now it's 10 minutes into the match. See, a whole lot of nothing's been going on so far, really. It was pretty easy for that fire to start, so maybe I do have to pay attention to the fire configuration of the ship, and maybe I do have to activate that fire extinguisher that we saw in the ship configuration. So here's the Graf Spee.
Enemy severely damaged.
2 Citadel hits. That's awesome. Now we're starting to talk. Up to 50,000 damage, that's getting to be respectable. That's all of a sudden a good game, all in one hit.
Torpedoes, dead ahead to starboard.
Here I'm just waiting for the shells to recharge, and I'm gonna take another shot at the Aoba. Hit him for a little bit, not really as much as I had hoped. And yeah, I'm really cooking here, so I'm gonna have to pay attention to this to see whether fires are really going to be a problem. So here's backing up. You do want to kind of aim at the stern.
Torpedoes, dead ahead. Enemy severely damaged.
And another 5,000 damage. I'm up to 66,000. That looks like the torpedoes from the Graf Spee. Here you can see some fighters from the aircraft carrier. Not really used to dealing with that, so for the most part, I found that I've been playing these games as if there were no aircraft carrier airplanes, and I guess I'll figure it out sooner or later. But here's Graf Spee, looking like a easy target. Aim at the waterline, and there you go. 2 Citadels and a destruction, all in one shot. Now we're up to 81,000 damage. This is turning into a pretty good game. You can see the aircraft carrier airplanes are still flying around, but I am on fire still. So this is kind of looking like it might be a problem. So let me wait until I get reloaded here. Take a shot at the Aoba. And there you go. Another 2 Citadels and a destruction. That was basically in 2 salvos. So one of his torpedoes did get me. And you can see I've got 2 fires in a flood. I'm sinking fast, but I am up to 96,000 damage, which is awesome. I really didn't expect that. Now I'm down to 913 points left. And I'm just trying to survive. You can see this airplane from the aircraft carriers coming. I'm still not really too used to dealing with this, and he gets me big time. So, well, that was a pretty good battle. 96,000 damage, 480,000 credits, 12,000 XP, 19,000 commander XP. So 7 Citadel hits. That's awesome. I took first place on my team. We did end up winning, even though my ship was destroyed. So you just never know how these games end up. With premium, I ended up with 399,000 credits, which is awesome. Well, that's it for the Shakedown cruise on the Hood. Overall, it's a much better ship than I thought. And it is pretty resilient, even though it does seem to be catching fire kind of frequently. I'm going to have to take a look at that. This is the Jaguar, and I'll see you on the high seas. Thanks for watching, and hit subscribe if you like it.